Yes, we've got my mate on the day, the angriest man in football, Willo Flood. How are you doing, mate? You alright?
Good, mate, all good.
Thanks very much for coming on.
No problem at all, mate.
You were at my game Saturday. You're an agent now.
You ran the show, mate.
Where are you getting
How
us?
high are them shorts, by the way? How high were them shorts?
Where are you getting us? Getting us a move or what?
Look here, looking for a decent midfielder, mate. Get you in there.
Do you know where I want to go? Or you want us to get Bali?
Bali, mate, you don't want to go there. You won't get paid.
Do you know what I want? A video, the open goal clips, interviews coming up, and I pop up and say, that was my past, this is my future.
You'd do anything for a mil, wouldn't you, mate?
Anything for a few quid, mate. Right, mate, we'll talk through the career. Upbringing in Dublin, rough council estate, wasn't it?
Yeah, rough place, mate. You either played football or you jockeyed horses. That was your upbringing, so...
What, you've got mates that actually were jockeys?
Well, no, like, you just random horses out in the middle of the street, you just jockey them. Oh, you had a horse?
What, so people in your street would just hay horses walking about?
Yeah.
What, why?
So where we lived, right, there was like obviously council house and across the road was a field and everyone had horses there or played football. I done both.
Were you always the best player at all your pals?
I played with a lot of older kids, mate. I never really played with boys my old age, so I used to get kicked up and down, and to be fair, that's probably why I'm a bit rough and ready.
What, see the council estate, was there ever a chance of you getting in trouble, or was it always football that kind of kept you out of trouble?
Loads of, you know what it's like in the council estate, you have loads of fights, like it was more fights, just street fights and stuff like that, but I was never in with the wrong crowd, you know. Like a few of my mates played in the League of Ireland, so I'm from a decent group of mates, to be fair.
What about like family? Were they quite tough on you football-wise?
Hadn't a clue about football.
No, so just what you got on with?
Yeah, my dad hadn't got a clue. He used to go fishing and hunting rabbits. My ma worked in the hospital, so they hadn't got a clue about football. And you know what? It probably suited me that way. They come to every game, yeah. And now all of a sudden he thinks he's a football expert, thinking that you haven't got a clue. Shut up.
What about you? With your kid, I can imagine you being quite tough on him.
I'm actually not, you know, like, I'll go and watch him and never say anything to him, and he loves a question, like, so he'll ask me questions after. But then, like, one day I lost the plot with him about 2 years ago. He was swanning about the pitch thinking he was the man, and I said to him, listen, son, I'm never coming to watch you again if you don't run about. And ever since then, mate, it's been brilliant.
I need to ask you, mate, before we go as well, get the barnet done.
Yeah, how bad is it?
No, you're going for a Paddy McCourt, isn't it?
Yeah, they want me to go back again, but mate, it's too soft for me.
Is it sore, is it? Huh?
Yeah.
It'll be gorgeous in the long run. Right, picked up for Man City. What was that, a tournament? Because in the summer there's always big tournaments in Ireland, isn't it? Is that where Man City spotted you?
No, do you know what? I played for one of the biggest schoolboy clubs in Ireland called Cherry Orchard, so from like 13, 14. I actually went over on my first trial to Everton when I was 13. I stayed in the boy Mick Doherty's house with his family, and Wayne Rooney was playing in the team.
No way.
Yeah.
What, so you were on trial and Wayne Rooney was playing?
Yeah.
How was he?
I was thinking, who's this monster, right? He was he was a man.
Was he, huh?
He came on and scored 3. I think we won 4-1. He was ridiculous.
Wow. That
was my first trial, and then the boy that used to work for Everton worked for Man City, and he seen me in the game. And within 2 weeks, then I went over to Man City. But mate, I had about 100 trials when I was a kid.
What, other big teams like Man United, didn't it?
Man U, Arsenal, Wolves, Aston Villa, Liverpool. Like, I was actually a decent player when I was younger.
You are a decent player, man. I don't think you get credit, is it? So why'd you pick City?
Just because they were a big club in the Championship. And the money, to be fair, like the money I was getting elsewhere was way more elsewhere, but I just thought, you know what, big club, chance of breaking in the first team. And that's all that ever came through my mind at that stage was, will I play in the first team? And just got a good feel for it. There was a lot of Irish lads over there at the time.
What age did you move over there?
15.
Was there never any worries about moving away from home now?
Never.
The horse, isn't it?
Nah, I missed my horse. But you know what, there was never anything. I went over thinking I was going to be a footballer. I never had any doubt thinking, you know what, you'd be back home after 2 or 3 years. There was never any doubt of that.
What, you knew, you had that mentality?
I just had a mentality that I was
player?
going to be a football player, yeah. I didn't care at what level, but I just knew I was going to play. And to be fair, I was lucky because there was about, my year academy, there must have been about 12 or 14 lads that had decent careers, like.
Yeah. Why do you think that is? Because you didn't get that now, I didn't think.
You don't get that now. I think back then it was easier to play in first team football, and I just think we had a good group from academy, like coaches and players with a good mentality through the whole club.
Would you have been quiet when you first moved over, or were you right in amongst it?
I was right in amongst it.
What sort of, were you in digs?
I was in digs, me, Glenn Whelan.
Oh, was it Glenn Whelan?
Yeah, Stephen Elliott, and a Northern Ireland boy, Gary Brown. And I was only over there about 2 weeks, and my digs lady says, oh, Willow, my son's 30, we go and he's like, yeah. I never had a drink in my life. So Nicky Weaver was there and he said, "Will I have a drink?" And I was like, all right, 15, right. Bottle of Bud, mate. Next thing I was in a nightclub at 15, absolutely steaming. Stephen Elliott carried me home. That's why I don't really drink.
Oh, brilliant. Nicky Weaver's meant to be some man, isn't he?
Best fella in the change room you'll ever have, mate. Just banter-wise, funny, decent lad, just one of the lads, really. And I'd say he's one of the lads down in the... Because he's goalkeeping coach at Chef Wed now.
Oh, is he, right?
Yeah. City legend he was as well, to be fair.
How long was it before you were training with the first team?
I was there, like, my first year, I was there when I was 15. The end of that year, I actually went up and trained with them 3 times with Joe Royal and Willie Dundee. I was just turned 16, yeah. Right. And I trained with them for a bit. And then Joe Royal left, and then Kevin Keegan came in. And I remember him coming in, and he came to watch us, and I had a beast that day, and he brought up Bradley Wright Phillips and Lee Croft, and I was raging, thinking, I should be up there. And to be fair, within 2 or 3 months, then he took an liking to me, and I was up training with them after a few months. So
Bradley Wright Phillips, Lee Croft, that's a good youth team, isn't it?
Really, Kieran Westwood, the goalkeeper, was in. Yeah. Stevie Ireland, obviously, Nathan Manua.
Wow.
Maybe with a few decent ones, like.
What was the standard like in the first team when you went up?
Not like today, that's for sure. Joe Royal's team were decent, but they weren't like, they were just a bottom end prem, top end champion. But then when Kevin Keegan came in, I took her up a few notches.
What type of players were we talking when Keegan came in?
Keegan came in, he brought Anelka in, didn't he?
Wow.
Like, we went from, no disrespect, we went from Paolo One-Chop to Nicholas Anelka. Like, I mean, there's a massive difference in quality and decent lads as well, to be fair to them.
See, when you went up to the first team, would you still be smashing boys or not, or were you a bit...
Yeah.
You would?
Right, because we had this boy, Christian Negway, he was about 9 foot tall, one of these all arms and legs, right, and I was straight and just trying to kick the lumps out of him. Kevin Keegan loved it.
Did he?
Yeah, he loved it, probably because he was quite small himself, like, but I think he was a bit more talented than me.
So would he pull you aside and say, I love that you've got
He said, listen, Willo, just go up and do what you do in the youth team. He said, do not change for anyone. He said, I don't care who you're training with, do not change for anyone.
That's amazing, isn't it? See, but what guys like Anelka think when a wee guy like you is booting him?
He just laughed, to be fair.
Did he, huh?
Just trying to get near him was hard to bill him, but...
Was he the best player?
Yeah, like to be fair, with Sean Wright Phillips at the time, who was flying, Richard Dunn. Yeah, they had a good team then, like, I mean, they'd some good individuals.
See, like when I went up to the first team, you gave the ball away, you get roasted, man. Was it the similar?
Yeah, I remember Pep Guardiola came on trial once, right?
No way.
Yeah. And we were in a possession box. It was like an 8v8, 30 by 30 or something. And I gave it away and he comes over, listen, when it gets tight, play along. I was like, all right, no problem.
And he was on trial?
Yeah. He was so enthusiastic, right? He was only on, I think he was there for a week. And then he went to Wigan and I think they tried to sign him. He ended up going, I don't know, Qatar or something like that. But when you think of it now, like, his team is unbelievable to watch.
Was he quality in training?
Yeah, in possession, ridiculous.
So see, when you see him after games, like doing all that with people, that is actually how he is, because people say it's for the cameras, isn't it?
Well, he was like that when he came in on trial at City, like, I mean.
There you go, very exclusive. Pep Guardiola is actually like that. Given your debut, TNS in the UEFA Cup, what's the story? I always love hearing about the debut. Did you know you were going to play the day before the game, or was it? No,
so what happened was, like, at Man City, you trained at Moss Side, which was Platt Lane, which was where the youth team trained, at Carrington, where the first team trained, and so the youth team manager just pulled me and said, listen, Willo, you're travelling with the first team. I just thought, travelling up, I go and carry out everything, you know what I mean, the usual. And then the day before, Keegan says, Willo, you're making your debut tomorrow, you might as well tell your mum and dad. So I told my mum and dad, listen, it's in Wales, so if you get the boat to Holyhead, it's not far. Took them about 9 hours. Yeah, but I played right wing back, like, and I just...
Started?
Yeah, I played the full game.
Were you nervous?
I was nervous, yeah. But I always remember the first team lads saying, oh, just make a first pass easy and all. And you know what? When I think of it, I was probably too safe when I played. And after the game, I actually regretted it, thinking, you know what, you were too safe. Like, fair enough, 1 or 2 passes at the start. But after that, like, I always used to say to kids when you make their debut, listen, you're here for a reason. Go and express yourself. If you make mistakes, who cares?
Do what got you here.
Yeah.
What about Keegan? Like, would you ever have a go at you as a young lad, or was it always positive?
He was always positive. Loved shooting drills after training. Like, he would pull you and say, come on, Willo, 20 minutes, and he'd be just hitting in the top end. I'd be shanking everywhere.
Was he still decent?
Yeah, unbelievable he was. But every day after training, he would always pull young lads together and do extra with them.
Top man,
just loved it, like. So we'd play youth team games on a Saturday at 11 o'clock. He'd come over, watch the game, say something at half time, and then go over to the first team game every Saturday morning.
You think that's gone for football as well? Because we Stratton was the same. We Stratton used to come and watch all your youth team games.
They don't really get involved anymore because I just think the pressure is so much now where they don't really get enough time to go and look at the youth team. What's the point of looking after the youth team? You could be sacked after 6 months.
Spot on. Why did you go on loan to Rochdale then?
I got sent.
Why?
Just because they wanted me to go and experience first team football, and it was a reality check. To be fair, it was like you had to wash your kit and all, and you know what I mean, you were training on different parks, and I was used to playing in academy, reserve team football where you go and get it off the fullback, and I went to the fullback and he didn't even look, he just absolutely launched it.
Oh, I know that feeling. It's horrible, isn't it? Did you get boys bashing you a bit and all that?
Yeah. And I thought, what is this? So I went back again, the fella launched it. And to be fair, every game I played on loan, Kevin Keegan rang me afterwards. He was there, or he had someone there. But I cut my loan short.
Why?
Because I played the first 5 or 6 games, I wasn't enjoying it. Then he stopped playing me for a couple, and I thought, you know what, I'm hating it here. I can understand why some young lads chuck it then, you know, that way, because it doesn't work out. But there was the experience that was good, you know what I mean? Thinking, I never want to play at that level again. It was horrendous.
So was that a wee bit?
It was a reality check, thinking, you know what, you ain't as close to the first team as you think you are. And I came back around, I think it was around April time, and I went back home for the summer, and I training with Shelbourne, I was training with St Patrick's to stay fit and all, and then, to be fair, I made my debut a couple of months later. 2004,
2005, 12 appearances, mate. How good's that?
I know.
Will you feel like it was a bit of a dream, playing with Man City's first team?
See, when you're in it, mate, you don't really, like, because I played against Barnsley and we pumped them in the cup, and to be fair, we played them on the Tuesday night, and Kevin Keegan pulled me on the Monday and says, Willo, I'm going to ring your mum and dad, they're going to come over on the Tuesday, and he paid for everything the club did and all.
I love Kevin Keegan,
yeah.
What a guy.
So then we won 7-1 or something, and afterwards he says, oh, Willo, where's your mum and dad? And he went over, spoke to them for ages, mate. Just a genuine, decent lad, like, isn't it?
Was your mum and dad buzzing?
Oh, buzzing, yeah.
How was the standard of the Premier League?
Tough, like, you know what I mean? Bigger, quicker, more athletic than you would ever experience up here, like.
Was that ever a thing for Keegan? Did he ever say to you about your stature and height?
He did a little bit, because in the youth team I was always a central midfield player, and he always played me off the right, and I was never really a wide right player. I never really considered myself a wide right player, but he always said physically that it was too much for you in there. But I think that kind of changed when Barcelona started running amok. Then the midgets in the midfield kind of were allowed to happen.
Were you one that would go to the gym and stuff like that? Or was it always?
No, I never really bothered me. It was like, I remember like when we were there, like we had a boy called Juan Carlos Osorio. He was manager in Mexico there in the World Cup.
Right.
And core work just came in, mate. And then it was like patch the gym off and do all planks and all, and then that got patched off a bit. And like gym wasn't really in at that stage. Now it's just gone mental.
Do you think if you did in the gym when you were younger, maybe would have lasted longer in the Premier League?
I don't know, mate. I just think I didn't get enough game time. Like, I mean, I just think I probably see if Man City were in the Championship, I probably would have suited me more, because I would have got more game time. Man City being in the Premiership probably killed me. That's why I don't understand why a young lad leaves Scotland at 16, 17 to go to the Premiership. I'm like, what are you doing? The chances of you making it is very slim, so you might as well give Scotland a go, and then if you play and you have a decent 100 games on your belt, then go down as a first team player.
There's a bit of advice for you as well, brilliant. Toughest teams you played against in that wee spell?
Roy Keane, my second game I think it was, and I was giving a loads in the paper, oh yeah, we can take Man U on. 2 minutes into the game, bang, mate, absolutely smashed me.
Do you think it was because of what you'd said in the paper?
I don't think he even cared, like, I mean, he was just a winner, wasn't he? He was an unbelievable footballer. And then after the game, I says to him, can I have your jersey? And he goes, yeah, in the tunnel afterwards. I walked in the tunnel and I thought, where the fuck is he, man? Fucking, I was raging, right? And then went in and we drilled them 0-0, which was a decent result for Man City back then. And 2 minutes later, then the kit man came in and says, oh, well, Roy told me to give you the jersey. To be fair play to him.
So you got Roy Keane's jersey?
Yeah.
Wow.
He was, for me, he's the best Irish player of all time.
Unbelievable, that, eh?
You would have been with him.
I was on the Celtic, he's a scary man, isn't he?
Yeah.
Were you there when he was there?
No.
No.
Just intimidates you when you see him,
I was
doesn't
shit scared of him, right, you had some big players as well. Peter Schmeichel. How was he?
He was strange, I thought, mate.
Was he?
Strange character, yeah. He was a winner, like, you know what I mean? But I think from the level that he was at to going into Man City, who were kind of middle of the road, you know what I mean? I don't think it suited him. And to be fair, I wasn't really training with the first team. I was more training with the reserves at that stage.
Right, Joey Barton.
Do you know what? See, in football, mate, what he's earned in football, he's deserved it, because he's like, when I first went to Man City, he was on 1 year contracts every year, so he was getting a 1 year, 6 month, 1 year. I thought, and see, if you looked at him, when I was only 15, he was like 17, 18 at the time. You would have never thought he was going to have the career he's had. And to be fair to Joe, he's worked hard and he's worked his balls off to get where he is. He was a bit mental, like.
What would he do? Just like fight all the time?
He came in one day with this gun thing, right? And it was all bullet wounds in the lockers, and I was thinking, what the fuck's that? And this fella comes out and he opens his locker and he has this big gun about this size. And I'm like, what are you doing? Just going to shoot a few sheep. I'm like, what? The next day he comes in and he goes, Willo, went to see 2 sheep, bang, bang, killed 2 of them straight away and just drove off. I thought, what the fuck are you doing, man?
Has he wild
Great, like I had a lot of time for Joe. He dedicated, like, worked his balls off, mate. Like, I mean, everything he got, like, in the gym and all, he worked hard after training. After training every day, he stayed out for 20 minutes, half an hour.
So not the most talented to but just a hard worker.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Robbie Fowler, much to do with him?
Yeah, like, the best finisher I've ever seen in my life. Like, the Robbie Fowler at Liverpool wasn't the Robbie Fowler at Man City, but you could see in training he was unbelievable. Great lad, funny lad.
Supposedly loves a beer, doesn't he, tonight?
Yeah, we had a few at that stage, like Richard Dunn. Dunny loved the...
Mate, I heard Richard Dunn can drink like nothing else.
Yeah.
And play the next day, no? It just doesn't affect him.
Some lads were like that, because to be fair, Kevin Keegan got rid of that drinking culture when he came in, and I always remember I was up training with the first team, and Big Dunny was up the pitch, about 10 mile up the thing, thinking, what's he doing? Kevin Keegan used to have him out on his own, like, doing one-to-one stuff, because he wanted him away from the drinking. To be fair, he got like 6 Player of the Years in a row or something like that, Man City. Miles better than what people think.
What a career he had. Last one, Berkovic, was he there when you were?
He was just a little bit when I was there. Like, I was more training with the kids. See, the big characters for me at that time when I was at City was Ben Thatcher, Richard Dunn. Ben Thatcher.
He's a screwball, isn't he?
Mental. So he was really good with me as a kid. I trained with the first team one pre-season, and he only signed, and he says, I just connected with him. Like, he looked after me and stuff, and we were away in the There used to be like the Thailand Premier Cup. It's like the Asian Premier Cup now.
Yeah.
So we drilled with, I think it was Everton or something, and you had to stand on the halfway line because of a penalty shootout. And he goes, Willo. And we'd white Man City shorts, and mate, it was all yellow stuff going down his thing. And I'm like, what the fuck's he doing? He goes, just going for a piss, Willo. I'm thinking, what the... And mate, so I step up, I was like second or third taking the pen, and then he steps up again and just scores. I thought, he's fucking mental. And every day he used to torture people, like, and he was coming out of the toilet one day and he's like this. There's a big lump of shite on the tissue, right? What the fuck are you doing? Hides it in the kit man's room, so 2 days later the kit man's like, fucking hell! The place was stinking.
Because he was part of the crazy gang, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Who else were you going to say about characters?
Nicky Weaver was a decent character, but Thatch was the one that ran the change room. But he looked out for all the young lads, like, you know what I mean?
Brilliant, great times. Went on loan to Coventry again. How was that? Big club, Coventry.
Big club, like, we opened the stadium at the time, like, and it was Mickey Adams there, and like, good staff he had there, but mate, they weren't really. You know when you go there and you know they're not really having you.
Mickey Adams is fit. I've played against this team that's bashes it.
And I was going through a stage in my career where I was probably losing my way in the game a little bit, because you know you're on a high at Man City and then you're kind of getting patched off alone here or there, and you're not really feeling good about yourself. And I wasn't really even playing that well. And everywhere I went, they always put me wide right, and it pissed me off because I knew I wasn't fucking going to start skinning people or doing step overs down the line. You know what I mean? So it used to annoy me, and then they put me wide right and all, and then I played 1 or 2 decent games, and then other games I was shit, and then I ended up doing my groin, and then my loan got cut short.
Did you ever worry that you weren't going to make it?
At that stage, I thought I was losing my way a little bit, yeah.
And what with Keegan? Would you go and see Keegan and say, listen, I don't think...
Keegan was gone at that stage. Stuart Pearce was there.
How did you feel when you heard that Keegan got sacked?
Disappointed, like, I mean, because he obviously was the one to give me the chance, and he fancied me, and I built up a relationship with him for 3 or 4 years, you know. And then obviously Stuart Pearce came in. Pearcey was there at the club, but Pearcey just wasn't really having me, and he was a good fella. I actually really liked him.
You obviously know the type of guy you are, but as a young boy, would you go and speak to managers and say you
all the time, mate?
Would you? Yeah. Even as a young boy?
Yeah. I was like 17 or something, and I walked in, and Kevin Keegan was there with Arthur Cox, and I'm like, I felt like, cause I want to go alone. He's like, Willo, what the fuck you doing? You're 17 years old. Oh, you were stupid. Like, I was just desperate to play games, and I couldn't get the games. Like, I wanted games quicker than I could get at City, you know what I mean? And that's why probably City being in the Championship would have suited me more than City being in the Premiership.
Would you have had that conversation with Stuart Pearce as well?
No, I had a few conversations with him, like, and he was quite honest and said, well, I don't see it in my plans, and I just wanted to go out and play games then, and I was either going to go to Burnley or Coventry at the time, and I think Luton was sniffing about at the time, and they ended up going to Coventry.
Was that, see when you eventually left Man City, sad day?
Not really, no. Because I got robbed, I wanted to leave Manchester.
Go on, give us a story, this is tremendous, man.
You want the story?
Go on, give us it, mate, I love it.
So, like, I was like 18 and 19 at the time, and obviously new contracts, thinking, like, you're on the property ladder straight away. So, me and my mate Paddy McCarthy at the time, another Irish lad who had a decent career.
Who did he play with?
Played at Palace.
Palace, a big centre-half, good player, mate.
Love smashing people.
Big, gorgeous guy,
good lad, great lad. So, we were looking around houses at the time, and I seen this new build house, and I thought, yeah, this is a nice place, and didn't even think about like the rough part up the road or that, and just, you know, young, stupid, and said, right, I'll buy that house. So I moved into a house and stuff, and I only had a beanbag, just had the plasmas at the time, they were like $3,000 or something like that, you know what I mean? So the sensor light comes on out the back.
Is this at night?
Yeah. So I'm in the sitting room, was obviously the back gardens there, the sensor light comes on, I'm thinking, who the fuck's that? Nothing of it, mate. 2 minutes later then, I'm on the phone to my brother. He's dopey as fuck, but I'll tell you about him in a bit. So he's on the phone, and this fella comes in with a knife. Walks through the door with a knife. I'm thinking, what the So then, like, I just jumped up off the chair and thought, I'm thinking, fuck, sit down there, Willo. So then, so he's like, listen, I'm fucking telling you, get that fucking plasma off the wall, Thinking, plasma? Thinking, right, I have a toolbox, and they'll run in. Toolbox, right? I'm thinking, the plasma's taking about 3 days to get on that fucking wall. It took me 2 minutes to get it off. So I'm there, the fella has the knife.
Who's Paddy McCarthy, sorry, at this point?
No, I'm in the house on my own.
Oh, you're on, right,
yeah, in the house on my own. So I'm there, 2 screws lift off. I felt like I was fucking strong as fuck, lifting a 42-inch plasma. Then I was walking out of the house, and he has a knife to the back of me, and I'm just carrying it. So as soon as I got out, I just fucked it on the ground and sprinted. But there was only like 4 houses built, you know what I mean? So it was like Usain Bolt straight over there, banging the door down. But in the meantime, he had taken the car and the plasma, and he'd gone. But like,
is it your car?
Yeah. But in the meantime, he goes, oh, Willo, you're a Man City fan, but this is nothing personal, mate, nothing personal at all.
So he was a Man City fan?
Yeah. Supposedly the day they arrested him, he had a Man City jersey on. It's fucking, mate.
But it traumatised you a bit, didn't it?
Yeah, mate, because I was coming back from the double hernia at the time. And to be fair, Thatch rang me straight away. He was one of the first people to ring me the next day and stuff, and says, well, if you need that, and I'll get you a new phone, get you everything. And I went into Stuart Pearce and said, listen, I just went home, like. So I went home for about 3 or 4 weeks, and you know, when you're at home, you're thinking, is there even more to it? Like, I mean, but I thought, fuck this, get out here, and I went back then. And then a few months later, then he actually ended up playing against Chelsea.
He's a nose of football, yeah. Headed to Cardiff 2006, bid was accepted. Happy to join a big club as well again, Cardiff.
Yeah, bigger club than I thought, like, I mean, nice place to live as well, and I just wanted to get out, and there was a few lads, like obviously Stephen McPhail was there, and there was Kev McNaughton, and
Kev's a great guy.
Stephen Thompson.
Stephen Thompson as well.
Madman.
Is he right? Go and give us a Stephen Thompson story.
Just a fucking, like, you go on a night out, like, and you'd be there chilled out, nice restaurant and stuff, the bouncer would be looking, Tom will be getting a bit lardy. Just pick up a pint glass, bang. What the fuck, Tom? The bouncer would be, sit down, you, sit down.
What, you do that to the bouncer?
Yeah. I'm like, Tom, what you doing?
Kev's a bit of a madman as well,
yeah.
Drinking away.
But Kev could drink all day and, like, run the next day and win the bleep test, like. It'd kill me, mate. I'd 4-day recovery after that.
Was that when you started to go out quite a bit, Cardiff?
Cardiff a little bit more, yeah, because we were quite a close-knit group. Me, McPhail, Kev, Tomo and Neil Alexander. We used to ask him out every night, but he wasn't allowed, mate.
Get that in, good, I like that. McPhail was a player, wasn't he?
Yeah, ridiculous ability. Like, for someone that had, like, see, like, people say, oh, he's no legs. He had no legs whatsoever, but unbelievable ability.
Left foot was lovely, wasn't it? So, why didn't you work out at Cardiff?
So I think when I went there like just before the season started, so we obviously never got a pre-season under my belt, and we'd won like 8 or 9, we were top of the league, so I found it hard to get into the team, you know what I mean? The team was flying, we were top of the league, and I struggled at the start to just get any game time, and I came on against Leeds and scored the winner and got a little bit of game time. I played against Spurs in the FA Cup and done quite well, and we drew with them. I think it was 1-1 or whatever, 0-0, and then we played them in the second leg, and the replay, and I was shit, and I just got bombed. I never really played then, and then I always found that I was a shit sub, mate, you know that?
Oh, I'm the same, mate. I hate
So see, I fucking hated them, man. So I always felt if I went to a club and I was sub, you might as well just send me back to Ireland.
So again, was it chat with managers, don't say, listen, I need to play, I need to get
Loads of times, yeah, I went into him loads of times.
Was it Dave Jones?
Yeah. And Dave Jones annoyed me, irritated me a little bit because I always worked hard in training, but he would stroll out at 10:30 and walk in at 11:15, like I'm gonna leave Terry Burton to it, and they used to piss me off a bit because even though Terry Burton was a decent coach, just because if the coach didn't fancy you, there's probably no chance of getting in the team, you know.
So you're trying to get in the team, obviously wanting to impress the team, and the manager's only coming
for 15
hardly
minutes. Yeah.
So what did you say, I need to get out and play? Go on to United?
Yeah. Swindon, Paul Sturrock came in for me to go to Swindon, and I spoke to Craig Levein on the phone, and I just thought, you know what, go play against Celtic Rangers, I fancy a change, and I just fancied playing games, really.
Had you heard of Craig Levein before?
A little bit, because my mate was he was my mate's manager at Leicester, and
Who's
Paddy
that?
McCarthy.
Right, okay.
And Paddy says, Willo, he's a crazy bastard, man. Just right. He said, our centre backs and any back four, he said he'd lose the plot. But I just got a good vibe for him when I spoke to him.
What
on
did
the
he
phone.
say to you when he spoke to you on the phone? Can you remember?
He just said, listen, Willo, I was seeing you at Man City. I tried to sign you at loan when I was at Leicester, and I like the way you go about things, and I think it'd be good for you to get your career back on track.
And how is he when you first met him?
He's quite intimidating.
Is he scary, Craig?
Yeah. See, when you first meet him, like because he's quite a decent size, isn't he? And he doesn't really have the banter at the start. He was quite serious and stuff, and his pre-season was fucking ridiculous, man. Like, my missus was 2 weeks late for having the baby.
I thought you were going to say you said your missus done the pre-season.
Nah, fucking hell. She'd die. So I had to go 2 weeks late because the missus was having the baby. So he was great with me. He said, well, don't come back, wait till your missus has the baby and stuff like that. So I was playing catch-up when I got back, mate. And talk about making the first impressions, man. Done a bit of running, got sick. Had to do the running with the kids.
What did he say to you when you were sick? Because he loves people being fit. Paul Harley taught us that when he came on.
Mate, he tests people's character like straight away. And he just said, listen, Willo, I'll fucking get you fit. And I thought, fucking hell. So every day I used to do running with the goalkeeping coach, the boy Thompson, that's at Ross County.
Oh, right,
Just a fucking road runner, him, man. Like, you know what I mean? Could run at the same pace all day. Like, so I used to go up Camperdown Park. So I used to do that twice. That was like 15 minutes long. Then
so you would do that on your own with the goalie coach?
Yeah.
Just to get fit?
So I'd train with the lads and then do running afterwards with him.
Oh, that's brutal.
Mate, it was torture, but you know what? It was good for me. Because my first game for him, we played Livingston away. And I was, because I'd lost my weight in the game, I wasn't even fit and all, and he lost the plot. He said, see, fucking you're fucking miles off here. See, you'll be fucking down the road if you don't get your fucking act together. And I thought, wow, here we go. And then to be fair, after, it took me about 2 or 3 months to get going, and then once I got going then.
Do you know what, it's mad, see, most people that come on to speak about Craig Levein, they say that exact same story. Like Paul Hartley said his first couple of games, Levein slaughtered him and he had to go and train with the youth team for 2 or 3 months. Yeah. Is that maybe what you needed at that stage of your career? Somebody to... I
need someone to just fucking tell me, Willo, to be a footballer, this is what you need to do. Like, because you get a little bit of fame at like 18, 19, you're playing Man City's first team, but you know what? 12 games means fuck all. You need to play 50, 60, 70, 80 games, like, you know what I mean? And like the money they're getting, the money then was shit, but the money they're getting now is ridiculous, so they just lose motivation.
Did you not get sent off on your league debut as well?
Yeah, in the first half.
Was it in the first half? What was one for taking a quick free kick?
No, one was for a dive, I think it was against Jackie Mack. I went down the side and dived. And I think, and then the other one was just a tackle. And then I played in the reserves on the Monday and got sent off, 2 yellow cards. One of them was a quick free kick. And I thought, here we fucking go, man. I'm going to go in to see this mad cunt.
Did he slaughter you again?
No, he didn't.
Is that a good thing about him? He knew the times to
slaughter? He knew when to go. And Peter Houston obviously said to him, listen, he shouldn't have been sent off. But I came up as a right winger, and I always knew I wasn't a right winger, like him, and I was only over time then he put me central.
Good dressing room at the time, Noel Hunt, John Daly, Warren Feeney, Barry Robson, good guys to play with?
Mark Kerr, Craig Conway.
Oh, Mark Kerr, Craig. Yeah.
Good lads, like, mate, there was a close-knit group. We'd go out for food every Friday, and like we'd organise a night out and then we'd play golf on a Tuesday, or we'd go for a night out on a Tuesday. I remember going out on my first or second night, and we were with Kerzo and Conway, and mate, them two were bomb scares, right? Like a bit like you. So
days are gone, mate.
We went out and we had a few drinks and stuff and a bit of banter. And we went from one pub to another pub, and me, Lee, Wilkie, Dillo, Kerzo and Conway, mate, them two cars in Dundee were running up cars, down cars, running up cars. I was like, what the fuck are these cunts doing, mate? And then we went to Fast Sam's afterwards, and then...
what a place.
Kerzo was fucking wrecking the place. Conway was... I thought, oh, these two are mental. But mate, it was a close-knit group, like. One thing about Levine, he built a good change room then.
See, just on Levine, you said about his pre-season, is it the hardest you've done?
By a mile.
Worse than, harder than Strachan's, isn't it?
I don't know, Strachan's is up there as well, isn't it?
It's tough, isn't it?
Strachan's at Middlesbrough was mental.
Was it?
Because
right, we'll come to that in a bit, right, but Craiglevine's is the worst. Was that the first time you actually started to enjoy it? Obviously, you're playing first team
First
football.
time I actually felt like a footballer, yeah. Because I felt good about myself, and he was playing me. He always played me central. He played me a bit wide left, a bit wide right, but he always played me central, and I just felt like I was a first team player.
Wait, do you remember the point that he said to you, I'm going to play you centre? I think you're a centre midfielder.
He never actually said it. He just... What happened was we went to 4-3-3, it's now 4-2-3-1, and Barry Robson played off the right, and he just put me more central, and Scabby Elbows was desperate to play in the middle, but he kept him on the right.
Scabby. Even when he had the ball, he would be elbowing you, wouldn't he?
Mate, I've never seen anyone, right, elbow someone...
Barry Robson, this is by
as much as him, and have scabs. Have you ever seen his elbows?
No.
How scabby they are? No. Oh, the most disgusting things you've ever seen in your life.
But you and him are good pals, aren't you?
Yeah, we weren't really close we never became close at Dundee United, I wouldn't say.
Why is that? Because you were both fighting for that centre midfield position?
No, I think because Robbo was too big for Dundee United at the time. We were a good team and we were up there and we were challenging. I think there was a few clubs sniffing about him, and I think he just wanted to change at that stage. He was a bit of a boring cunt at Dundee United, if I'm being honest. He never came out on the nights out.
Nah?
No.
And why is that? Just because was he a good professional and desperate to get a move?
I think he was a good pro. Like, I'm sure he used to have his nights out, but when we'd have the team day outs on the Tuesday or the Wednesday, he never came out. Like, I just think he had thought, you know what, I'm ready to go now. Like,
see, I know how you're a moan and he's a moan. At United, would you ever clash properly?
Yeah, loads of times, yeah.
But in the dressing room?
Because you know what he'd do? Not really in the change room, just in training, because he would end up like winning the ball and going like that, yeah. But he said, oh, I didn't mean it and all, I'm thinking, fuck this. And then I'd end up just trying to smash him then. He'd just laugh.
And then you became proper pals at Aberdeen, huh?
Middlesbrough, Aberdeen is when we became close. Middlesbrough was when we became close, and then obviously Aberdeen.
He's another one that's had a great career, eh? He's
worked hard, mate. He got his, do you know what he done? He got his chance late and he kept going and he kept playing. He played till he was 37, 38. He's super fit lad, like, I mean.
That first spell at United, what's your best memories, games, goals?
Probably the game that sticks out for me was probably the League Cup final when we should have beat Rangers. That was the big one. Like, obviously the old chairman was there and he was struggling at the time and we should have won, and the ref should have given us a penalty, but you don't get them pens against the old firm, mate, do you?
How was the old chairman? Brilliant? Brilliant,
mate. Just a decent fella, loved football, you know what I mean? He would come in now and again in the canteen. He wouldn't be shy of hammering boys, like.
Would he, right? Have you won a dinner on a Saturday?
Like, he'd say, fucking, what about him the weekend, Willo? I'm like, he's all right. You know what I mean? But he took a shine to me, and you know what I mean? The club, I just took a shine to the club, and the club liked me at the time, and we just got on like a house on fire. And Craig, to be fair, was building a good team.
When did you first hear the Celtic interest?
I heard it about a week or two before we actually played them, because my agent was on to me, because I was only on loan from Cardiff, so I could leave Cardiff and go to another club in that January window. And he said he spoke to Strachan, and Strachan really liked me, and he went on to the stats and all. They obviously didn't go on the goals or anything, or assists, but he went on the running stats. And
the 5-yard passes.
Yeah, and the backwards and sideways. But Strachan seemed to like me and stuff, and then so we played them in the semi-final on the Tuesday at Hampden, and we were in the Cumbernauld Hotel, the Westerwood, and Levine put me in a room on my own. I said, what the fuck's here? Because I usually room with Dillo. And he goes, I don't even know you'll be fucking here. He says to me, but he was having a bit of banter. I thought, I will be here. Like, I mean, the last thing I'd ever do was, like, mess about like that. So then on the Tuesday, then I played. But I didn't, in the meantime, my agent had agreed everything. He obviously agreed his agent's fee. And then after the game, he rang me and said, listen, I've agreed everything with Celtic. We need to go down and do a medical tomorrow.
Did that put you off, knowing that you were going there before the game?
No, I didn't care. I was desperate to beat them, and to be fair, I thought on the day we should have beat them.
Was there never any part of you that wanted to stay at Dundee United permanently?
Yeah, that like the next day when I was on the way back from the medical at Celtic, I was close to staying, yeah.
Why?
Just because I really enjoyed it and I felt as if I owed them something, you know, that way. And I felt as if leaving after missing the pen, I just thought I felt a bit shit, like, if I'm being honest. And then the chance to play for Celtic was just too big to turn down, I suppose.
Be honest, is it the money as well, huh?
The money has a thing, like, because you're going to earn 3 times. But Dundee United made me a good offer, to be fair.
Right.
And the old chairman made me a decent offer, and the family, but like, they were paying for a house for us and all, and they done everything they could, like, you know. And I was in the car on the way home saying to my agent, I had a good feeling that it just wasn't right, and I just said, listen, I'm going in there, and McGeady and Nakamura and Robbo and Zico, and I just
Ferry.
Yeah. Caddis.
Imagine your agent though, if you hadn't went to Celtic, he'd have been raging, wouldn't he?
He would have been, but to be fair, when we got back into the house, he said to me, Mrs. like, he's thinking about not doing this and all, and she's like, listen, it's his decision. And I always thought to myself after that, you know what, go with your gut. If it doesn't feel right, don't fucking do it. But the pens was just fucking...
See, when the pens were happening, did you think, I'm going to miss you?
No, I always fancied myself in the first one, because we played Rangers the year before and I scored, and I always fancied hitting in that corner. So I went up, hit it in the corner, scored, and I thought, thank fuck. So John Daly scored, and me and him were just standing on the half-line, and me and him, I was like, thank fuck, that's over. Just relief, you know, when you score. So it was like 5-6, and I thought, we've got Michael Kovacevic, Lee Wilkie, Steliuska. They'll miss, they're fucking. And I thought, like, you had Lewins and stuff, I thought, he'll miss. So then it comes 8, 9, 10, and I'm thinking, fucking hell, it's coming back. So then it just sets in, you're thinking, oh no. So then when I was walking up to my pen, I was thinking, right, I want to do a change it, because I've heard of that side, and that's my side that I always hear it in. And then I was thinking, right, I'll change it. And then I put the ball down and I came back and I said, no, I'll go back to my normal side.
Oh, too much thinking.
Too much thinking, mate. I would have wished a manager just went up to me and said, Willo, hit that corner. Because that takes the pressure away from you then.
Yeah, it's his fault.
So it's his fault, exactly.
And see, after you missed it with the boys giving you a bit of stick, obviously knowing that you were going to Celtic.
No, because the next day I was in a training and everything had been agreed, the deal had been agreed and all. I went and done the medical actually and came back. And then Dundee United wanted me to play against Rangers. Strachan wanted me to play for Dundee United against Rangers. But Lawwell wouldn't sanction the move if I got injured, and it was too big a risk. But I was willing to play for Dundee United against Rangers.
How was Gordon Strachan the first time you met him?
Just, you know what he is, mate. He loves football, like, I mean, really enthusiastic, and I just got a good feel for him.
You still speak to him now? Eh?
Still speak to him now and again, yeah. He just loves football, like he'd watch any sort of football. You know what he's like on the training pitch. Yeah. His training was that. We trained hard at Dundee United, but when I went to his training, I had all muscle soreness and all. I thought, what the fuck's this? Because he'd have you on the training pitch for an hour and a half, an hour and 40, and the training was solid. Even the runs first, remember? Warm up the runs.
Yeah,
30 and 15, then 17, 15, 13 runs.
Ridiculous, mate.
Paddy McCord didn't like that.
See, he was your pal, wasn't he, Paddy?
Yeah.
Did you take him straight away? Huh?
Well, when I went along to Rochdale, he was at Rochdale.
No way.
And he never played, like. Imagine someone so talented, mate, and he didn't play at Rochdale at that time.
That sums up the lower leagues, doesn't it?
That's, like, lower leagues in England is just not for certain boys. Like, where the Scottish football is more football play, they'll suit them. Like, you were down there yourself.
Yeah. See, with Stratton, did you give him the worries that, am I coming here with McGeady and Nakamura? Did you ask him this before you
We had a conversation. He said, listen, Nakamura's leaving in the summer. He didn't fucking tell me Strachan was leaving in the summer. He says, he goes, listen, Naka's leaving in the summer. Like, I see you playing. Like, you've always done well against us. And when we go to a three in midfield, I'd like you to play there. And I like you narrow off a side and stuff like that. And there's certain games you play, certain games you won't. But just stick in there. And that's what he said. And to be fair, I was willing to give it a go.
See, when you first got into training and stuff like that, did you realise how good Nakamura and guys like McGeady were? Yeah,
well, I knew Aiden a bit from the Ireland team and playing against him and stuff. But Nakamura was the best you've ever seen in the box, wasn't he?
Oh my God.
Strachan was up there.
How good was he in the box?
Yeah.
I just keep giving it away and he just keep doing that to me. But you did? Why do you want to keep giving the ball away? He was ridiculous, wasn't he?
Ridiculous. But he used to take boxes so serious, and he used to crack me up because if someone was 5 yards away from him and he didn't call for it, he'd just stop it. Can you not fucking call for the ball? I'm like, All right, yeah.
Was the standard, you obviously said you trained hand, but not just in intensity, but in quality, was the standard a big jump?
Yeah, like Celtic was a bigger club than, obviously from Ireland, I thought it was a big club. But
did you grow up a Celtic fan?
The what? Yeah,
I
was a Celtic and Liverpool fan. But like, it was much bigger than I ever thought it was. Much bigger than I ever thought it was.
What, in terms of what, the fans?
Fan
the
base and, pressure and the amount of stuff, media stuff that goes on, the amount of signed balls that get done, signed jerseys, and just the whole, like, the club is huge. Like.
Who would you say was the best player there?
Nakamura, to be fair, I'd like McGeady, just the stuff he used to do in training. Remember, he used to do that thing where you'd have to stay with your man, or you had him one day.
So your man couldn't score,
I used to just try kick him because I thought if he starts doing all this, man, I'm gone.
He was frightened, wasn't he? You were thrown straight away against Rangers on your debut.
Yeah, to be fair.
Is that the most nervous you've been before a game?
Yeah, by a mile.
Again, did you know the day before that you were playing?
No, because, the day before, the morning of the game. The day before, Robbo was supposed to play and Robbo was struggling with his groin, and Robbo got on the bus and said, I'm not going to be playing tomorrow, you're going to play. And I said, nah, no chance, I've only just come. And then the next day at breakfast, Strachan pulled me and said, listen, you're playing. I thought, all right. And then I just spoke to my mum and dad and said, listen, I'm playing.
And see, can you even enjoy the build-up, or is it just pure nerves?
I don't even remember it, if I'm being honest, you know that? I just remember in the warm-up, Lenny says, listen, you know what this means more than anyone. I think that made me more nervous.
How was Lenny? Were you brilliant?
Great fella. I had a lot of time for Lenny because when things were going a bit sour at Celtic, he was reserve team manager and he kept me going, to be fair. Because when we went down to Ipswich in a reserve game, and he said, listen, well, I don't need to come down. But I knew that I was leaving in that January and I just wanted to go and get games, and had a lot of time for him and Danny McGrain. Remember the time Danny McGrain cut his shoe? Were you down there?
No, I was away on loan, I think.
So Danny McGrain was a diabetic, wasn't he? So we're walking through like one of the airports, and me and Caddy was there, and Danny McGrain had cut his shoe halfway. Thinking, what the fuck's he doing? So he was a diabetic, something to do with his toes or something like that. Oh, me and Caddy absolutely took the piss out of him. Like.
That's what's brilliant about Danny. He can help laugh for a minute, even though he's a legend.
Like you don't realise how much of a legend he was, because you wouldn't even think he played football. He never talked about it.
No,
never talked about it.
Right, just back onto the Celtic Rangers game. How was that atmosphere walking out?
Yeah, it was unbelievable. Like, I mean, like, I always remember from the game itself, it was a bit hectic and it was a bit mental, and then Scotty Mack misses that header from 2 yards out. Like, I actually put a cross in, a decent crosser once in my life, and Scotty missed it from 2 yards out, and it could have been also different. Like,
if he scores that, it's totally.
I think we would have won the league.
Yeah. So you're blaming Scotty for not winning the league?
Yeah, blaming Scotty for me not getting enough games at Celtic.
Because you got the old Si Ferry hooked after an hour.
Yeah. That's because McGeady was there. I was only down an hour.
Why? Were you told before it would probably?
I had an idea, to be fair, mate. You ain't going to leave Aidan McGeady on the bench, are you? And to be fair, I was surprised he was on the bench. But Strachan just wanted to keep it tight, I think, at the start, and then bring on a bit of magic.
Was your thoughts as well, smash people?
Just stick it into the year, because to be fair, I always played well against Rangers for Dundee United, so I always fancied myself against them, and I just thought, listen, the first time you get a chance, just go and welly that left back.
Who was it?
Big Serbian boy.
Papic?
Yeah, him.
Did you smash him?
I think I did smash him, to be fair, because he used to take an extra touch all the time, so he always found like to actually leave a bit on him.
Dressing room. Who was a good laughs in the Celtic dressing room?
It was a different change room to the Dundee United. Yeah, it's a different one, because the foreigners come in and stuff like that. It's not this. I don't think it's togetherness. It's the same. You'll know yourself. Obviously, big Arthur was Arthur, and then you've got McGeady, and then you've got Paddy, and Darren O'Dea was floating about, and Robbo and Gaz Caldwell, and Big Mick was a good old sleeping tablet.
A Paddy McCourt Monday, what does that consist of?
Paddy McCourt Monday was, if he was out Saturday, Sunday, he done his hammy on the Monday. 100% me. So he'd say to me, "You coming out Saturday?" I'm like, "No, don't know." So if he went out on a Saturday, he was having a Sunday session.
He was always going to a Sunday, huh?
And then 10 minutes into training, he'd be walking off. I'm like, I fucking told you.
He was ridiculous though, wasn't he?
Yeah, best ability. Like, one of the slowest players I've ever played against, but the best I've ever seen in a 1v1.
But see, like the 1v1s, you would never like do a trick or that.
No, mate, yeah. He didn't even, like, you wouldn't say, oh, he'd do this or do that. But he'd say something that he'd look at someone's feet or something, and then, but mate, he'd go past people for fun. He was unbelievable ability. Like, for me, he should have had a much better career than he had.
Just,
He probably stayed at Celtic too long.
do you think so? He should have went and played?
Probably should have went and played, like.
The money helps. The money helped, though, didn't it?
Paddy loves the money.
A few of the boys have talked about Strachan's one-liners. Can you remember any that stand out?
I don't remember one at Celtic, to be fair. I always remember one at Middlesbrough. Lads used to have, like, Bentleys, and like that club was mental. Like, the money they were paying was ridiculous. And I was at training one day, and he goes, "That's the problem with this place, Willo. Fucking bang average players like him driving a Bentley."
Just came, boys, man. Did you see when you weren't playing under him? Was he again? Would you go and speak to him? Was he all right with you?
Fair, he pulled me, like, so he would pull me and say, "Listen, Willo, you'll get you're training well." Like, he liked the way I went about things and training, and he said, "Listen, you're doing everything right." He actually pulled me more than I would ever pull him.
How long into your Celtic career did you start to think, "I regret this"? Was it when you started training with guys like me?
When I played a reserve game with you.
Was that when? Was it when you? Is it when you start playing reserve games?
When you don't see on that Saturday and you don't get that 90 minutes and you're sitting on the bench and you're getting a few minutes, that's when I thought, "Fuck this, man. This is not me." And that's one thing I always done in my career. When I never played enough game time, I wanted out. I don't understand why boys stay at clubs for 4 years, and obviously the money and all that, but I'm thinking, just go out on loan and fucking play games.
But is it tough because you've only just joined the club, so do you think I'll give it a bit more time, or is it straight away thinking I've made the wrong decision?
Yeah, straight away. After 2 months I thought, like, unbelievable club, loved it, but I just wasn't playing games and avoided playing games. I never enjoyed it.
No, didn't feel part of it.
And then when Strachan left there and you're thinking, who's going to come in now?
And then your big mate Tony Mowbray comes in.
Yeah.
Was he the answer?
Not for me.
How soon into Tony Mowbray's reign did you know that he didn't fancy you?
Within 2 weeks. Because I came back in training, and I remember training well in pre-season and stuff, and I think we went to Australia.
Mate, I absolutely took the piss on that first class plane, man.
Like, were we there for like 2 days or something like that?
2 days, one game we went for.
Yeah, I think we slept for about 4 hours. And I played well in the game. And I remember him shouting at me thinking, and I always thought, he ain't having me. And Sean Maloney says to me, "Well, fucking, you'll get a chance." And I thought, nah, you don't, you just get a vibe off him. And then about a week later, then he pulled me and says, "Listen, what do you think?" And I said, "Listen, I'd rather go, like." And he goes, "All right." And I said, "Listen, I spoke to Craig Levein, I'll just go back to Dundee United, get my profile up and then try to get a few bob for me down the line." And he said, right, we'll sort that out. So we agreed everything to come back to Dundee United. Then I came on against Arsenal in the second leg, and I actually done quite well. And he says to me the next day, "Nah, you're not going anywhere."
Me devastated.
Raging.
What would you say back to that?
I said, what's happening? Like, so then he says to me, like, "You're one of them players that, like, I don't want you to go, but I wanted to keep you, but I don't know if you're going to get enough game time." And I said, "I'd rather fucking go." And he goes, "Nah." He said to me, "You're like me comfort blanket." Oh, mate.
And did he cuddle into that?
He said, "You know, one of them when you don't want to let your comfort blanket go, but you know it's probably better if he goes, but you just keep him here." And that's what it was called, the comfort blanket, for 6 months.
Is that what the boys would call you?
I went and told the lads, to be fair.
So, see, when you want to play, would Levein phone you up and just say, "Do you fancy coming back?" Or would you phone him and say, "Can I come back?"
My agent had spoke to him at the time, and then I spoke to Craig, and we'd agreed everything with Lowell and stuff like that. So obviously I'd agreed everything to go back on loan, and then after that it was just went pear-shaped.
So how did Middlesbrough come about?
Strachan rang me. Strachan was in the job about 2 weeks.
See, when he first got the job, did you ever think he'll take me, man?
I thought, you know what, there's a chance he might take me. And I remember he was speaking to Robbo and speaking to Gaz Caldwell, and he rang me up and says, "Listen, Willo, I'll take you to Middlesbrough, do you want to come?" I thought, fucking straight away, yeah, all day. And that's when I said to Lenny, "Listen, I'm going in January." I said, "But let me play a few reserve games for you." And then over that few weeks, fucking Lenny was brilliant with me.
What
just kept me going and just said, "Listen, Willo, just use these games and get fit." We played Everton away, which was a hype. We played Ipswich away. Just played a few different games, and I just thought, you know what, I might as well go feeling good about myself. And I felt good because it was me, Gowser, in the middle of the park and a few others. I don't know where you were at that time.
I think I was at Swindon at that time.
Oh, yeah?
I think that was the worst period in the reserve history when I was there. I know he was only your reserve manager, but did you like Lenny as a manager?
I liked him as a fella, to be fair. Like, you know what I mean? I didn't think he'd get an opportunity so quick, but I know I was going a bit pear-shaped at Celtic at the time. And then I thought to myself, if I had stayed for a month, I probably would have played a bit, like, I mean, because I fancied myself over, like, a Mark Crosses, like, I mean, I fancied, if I was one-on-one against me and him, I fancied myself all day.
What did you think of Strachan's strategy signing? Was it too many Scottish players he signed?
Yeah, I think what happened was, me and Robbo went down at the start and it went really well. We were playing well and the punters took to us a bit and then Big Mick came down because we were struggling for a centre back and he done quite well, and then I think because we had all done alright and stuff like that, I just think he went a bit too mad on the Scottish market because he thought he got value for money. He did for me, like, because I was fucking on peanuts towards the rest of them.
But they on a fortune, didn't they, weren't they?
Oh, the lads were on, like, I was playing ahead of lads that were on 8 times more than what I was on.
8 times?
Yeah.
No way.
I'm telling you, mate, the money was ridiculous. And they didn't give a fuck. Like, they just sacked it off.
What was that, young boys that became through? Or
no, to be fair,
signings?
they didn't really give the young lads much money, but it was more like French boys and stuff like that. And
they were on a fortune. Was there a clique? Like, see, when there was that many Scottish boys, we used kind of separated?
No, do you know what? It was actually a good change room. Like, they had a lot of local boys in, like, the change room, like David Wheater, Tony McMahon.
McMahon's meant to be a bit mental, isn't he?
Yeah, Adam Johnson. There was a few local lads there, and they were all, like, they were quite a close-knit group.
Right. And why did it not work for Stratton? There just too many Scottish, do you think?
I think so, yeah. And I just think we never got the dynamics of the team right. Like, we played Scotty and Boydie together, and
it's not a lot of movement there, is
and not a partnership. Two of the most greediest fellas ever, like, you know what I mean?
Both on and off the pitch.
Yeah, but they just weren't a partnership, you know what I mean? And we were trying so hard to make it work, and it just never worked.
And yourself, a lot of injuries, didn't there?
Played the first 8 games, went really well, and then I dislocated. I had a patella. What did I have first? Posterior cruciate. That's what I had. So I played 8 games. Strachan hammered me at half time against Cardiff.
What did he say to you?
He said, "You've been fucking shit, get your finger out." First 2 minutes, bang, I went and smashed Kev McNaughton, done me knee.
Never listened to Gordon Strachan.
So I went, done me posterior cruciate, and then came back for pre-season. And we were doing pre-season, and the day before the game, because you know what Strachan was like, he changed the team up in the 11v11, so you never really knew who was playing. And me and Robbo were driving home that day, and he goes, "You'll play tomorrow." I thought, no fucking chance. And he played me like narrow off the left, and within 10 minutes then one of the lads smashed me. One of my own players, Matthew Bates, just collided with my knee and I dislocated my kneecap, so I had to get a patella reconstruction.
God's sake.
So then I was out for, like, altogether I was over a year.
How did the boys on Big Money, how did they find Strachan slaughtering them and that? They hate him,
They didn't really know how to take him. They loved his training, like, I mean, anyone that enjoyed football would love his training, like, you know. But one thing about me was honest, if he didn't like you, you were out of the picture, and that was it.
And can they see boys on Big Money, can they not handle that honesty now?
Down there, I don't think so, like,
They just want to be told they're brilliant all the time, don't they?
You know, you just rub their ego up a bit.
As lucky as you are, Strachan leaves and again your old mate comes in. See, when Strachan left, did you think there's no way Tony Mowbray can get this job? Because he'd been linked to it,
yeah. Me and Robbo were speaking one day and I thought, no, surely not. Because Robbo had fell out with him to get his move to Middlesbrough.
Right.
And then I thought, surely not, man. At least Robbo, you're all right. He likes you a bit, like, but he's not having me at all. But to be fair to Mowbray, when I went to Middlesbrough and I started well, he texted me and says, well done, I've heard you're doing really well, because he had a lot of Borough fans at the time.
Oh wait, so when you left Celtic to go to Middlesbrough, he was a Celtic manager, he texted you?
Yeah.
Did he, right?
Probably the most I spoke to him.
And he said you were doing well, huh?
Yeah. And he said, listen, I've heard you've been doing well, keep her up. But he obviously loved Middlesbrough as a club, like, I mean, he had a lot of time for it, and I think he was a legend there as well. When
Strachan left Middlesbrough, did he speak to you personally?
Yeah. He said he'd sent me a text. I sent him a text and he sent me a text saying, well, I wouldn't be collecting these fucking Tesco trolleys if you were fit. Me and Kevin Thompson, he said.
Because Tomo was, he was riddled with injuries as well. Good player, Tomo.
Tomo went down there and was injured straight away for him, really.
Mowbray comes in. Did you know straight away, I'll need to move on here?
Yeah. Like, hey, if a man just not having you, they're not having you, you know what I mean? And I was doing rehab, I was still injured at the time, and I was in the gym, and he just says, listen, when you come back, you'll get a chance, Willo. I thought, fuck, fair play to him, like.
And did you get that chance?
He brought me on as a striker. Again.
There's your championship,
Imagine
man.
me. I'd make more tackles than shots.
Especially in the championship, mate.
So he brought me on as a striker against Barnsley, and he just wasn't having me here. I actually thought he was a decent fella and his training was good, and he just wasn't having me. I just wish he was more honest with me and just said, listen, Willo, I don't fancy you.
Is it just that confrontation? He probably doesn't like Tony Mowbray, innit?
He just wasn't really upfront with me. Like, I mean, I'd rather, like, I always say that when I coach at the kids, and if I said a kid was doing something wrong, I would just tell him. Yeah. Just be honest.
That's what players want, innit? Somebody to be honest. And then approached about a return to Dundee United.
I actually met Aberdeen first. I met Archie Knox and Craig Brown and Willie Miller.
Well, that must have been a laugh, was it?
Yeah, Archie just took over the meeting.
Did he?
Archie just took over. I thought, you know what, he was decent, and I just thought, wait and see. And then I had a contract offer for them, and they offered the same money as Dundee United. And I just thought, you know what, I had good times there, and I actually liked Eusty and stuff. And me and Eusty always spoke, so I just thought, you know what, I'll go back there, and hopefully it works out well.
Did Tana just feel like a second home to you? Obviously, you lived away from home since you were 15.
Yeah,
Did Dundee
like
actually
the family,
feel like
like, you know what I mean, the missus and the little fella was settled, like they knew people in the area, so it was actually quite easy to settle back. But the missus, to be fair, they loved Middlesbrough, living in the area and the people that much that they didn't want to come back to Scotland.
Really?
Yeah. But obviously, football, Middlesbrough didn't want me anymore, so I needed to come back.
But you still live in Dundee now, don't you?
Yeah, I think we'll always stay in Dundee. Like, I mean, I don't think we'll ever move back home.
You said previously a 2-year period when you went back was the best football you've played. What was that down to?
When I went back to Dundee United? Probably just, to be fair, the first 5-6 months I was shit.
Were you?
Yeah, because see, when I came back from my knee injury, it took me ages to get going.
Right.
And to be fair to Eusty, he would put me in. I wasn't playing well, like, I mean, and to
Is
be
that
fair,
maybe as well because you hadn't played a lot?
Yeah, because I'd been out for a while, like, I mean, and then Eusty just gave me time, and I had a 2-year deal. I wanted a 3-year deal, they would only give me a 2-year deal. And then after about 5-6 months, then I felt good about myself physically and mentally, because you know what it's like when you've been out injured, mate, it takes a while to come back.
And because you were at Middlesbrough and Celtic, no playing every week,
Yeah.
it's tough, isn't it, to get
Yeah,
money
you just
again?
want to get back playing, and then until you actually play week in, week out, you don't know how good or how far you are off it.
Yeah. Peter Houston, top man.
Great. Best banter in the change room. Worst gear I've ever seen a manager wear. Fucking horrendous gear. He'd come in every day and just start caning by his gear.
Would he?
Yeah.
And what sort of stuff would he wear?
He loved the jumper short, but plain Jane,
Like a
bang
geography
average,
teacher
yeah.
or something?
Yeah.
And who would get it most for him? What players would get it?
Me, to be fair.
Would he give you a
because
bit,
I'd
would he?
give him a bit back, and he was just a genuine, decent lad. Like, you'd love him, like, just good about the place, decent on the game, and you know what he done? He gave a lot of decent lads at United, some decent young lads, he gave them all chances.
I was going to say there, GMS, Johnny Russell, Stuart Armstrong, Ryan Gold. See, when you went back and you seen the young players, did you think, you've obviously played at the top level, these guys have got a chance to go?
I thought they had a chance, but I remember we had Gaz GMS in for like 3 weeks, and Lucy said, listen, I can't sign him. Well, I was like, why? I said, listen, he's got a chance him. And he goes, I know. He said, but he won't give me, the board wouldn't give him 250 quid or something like that. And mate, he was fighting, so it was about a month before he actually got 250 quid to get him in the building.
No way.
Yeah.
So if you never got that,
he wouldn't have got him, he wouldn't have got him.
God's sake.
And God knows where Gaz would have ended up.
See, out of that group, who stuck out for you the most?
Johnny, because Johnny was determined little fucker, like, you know what I mean, and Stuart Armstrong. Stuart was unbelievable ability, like best finisher in training, and so quick, and they were the two that I thought, you know what, they've got a chance. But we used to do young Viola on a Friday, mate. We used to build lumps over each other.
Did you,
Yeah.
So see the type of boys, could they give it back?
Yeah, they would do, yeah. Stuart was a little bit at the start, but then Stuart, as he got more confident and felt good about himself, would leave a bit on you. Johnny loved it, like Johnny loved trying to smash people.
Did he, Would you be tough on the guys?
I was tough on them, yeah. They would say that I was tough on the training ground, but see, once I came into the change room, I didn't really care. So if I had an argument with someone on a Friday or a Saturday after the game, see, the next day, it never really bothered me.
Who would be the ones that would give you a bit back?
Stuart
No, I didn't mean kicking, I mean...
verbally. Stuart would give you a little bit back, Stuart.
Would he,
Yeah, he was quite quiet, Stuart, but he would give you a little bit back. Johnny a little bit, and the rest were just... The Gav Gunning and all that was in the change room, madman.
Why? See how you were tough on them? Is that just to set standards in training? It's
just because I was determined, and I knew that we had a good team, and I knew that we'd do well. Like, I mean, if we got going.
And do you think younger players need that? See that we're all looking all the time. Do you think they need that? People will be on them.
Not all the time, but they need a little bit of it. Like, they need to know that, listen, if you want to be a footballer in this game, this is what you need to do.
Yeah. So you're not just doing it for yourself, you're doing it for their benefit.
I think nowadays, like, people be mollycoddle them too much, you know what I mean? And people say, oh, you can't say this to them, you can't say that. Like, I'm thinking, fucking hell, you can. My first day at Man City, I played in the game, and my youth team manager said to me, you ever play like that again, you'll be fucking home after 4 months, you useless cunt. And I thought, wow.
But
And I came back to the digs and I thought, you know what, I'll show him. And can young lads handle that now? I'm not so sure.
I don't think they can.
I know. I'm not like.
And it's because they didn't get it fair when they're young. And it's the lack of, I think it's the lack of older players know setting standards for them.
And I do think parents nowadays, I'd be a lot more lenient than my little fella than my mum and dad would be.
Definitely. Whereas, see, when I was younger and you weren't doing well, your dad would say to you, well, get your finger at your ass. Now it's the coach's fault or it's somebody else's fault.
Oh, they'd be texting the coach and all, oh, you never done this for him, you never played him in this position.
It's doing it yourself, mate, innit?
Yeah. It's all excuses, mate.
Right, dressing room mental, Gavin Gunnan. I've had a few stories about him.
Mate.
How funny was he?
Just a good lad. Like, he does stupid things on the pitch and people think he doesn't care, but he actually does care deep down, you know what I mean? But like, we used to train Tuesday off, Wednesday and Thursday, I think it was, and he do some random stuff. Like, he picked up Johnny Russell's boot one day and just starts going to the toilet in it, right? Going for a piss in it. I'm thinking, what are you doing, Gaff? So then he'd go for a piss and then he'd put it nice and neat like that, so Johnny's two boots are like that. So then on the Thursday I come in, I'm in the physio room here getting the strapping, so I can see Johnny and Richie Ryan. And Johnny's about to put his boot on and Johnny goes, smell a piss off them boots, Richie. And I was like, what? So then Richie's like, you can't really smell that, and Johnny. so then Johnny put his boots on the way out and Johnny goes, some fucking cunt is after pissing in them, and then we all just broke up all laughing, and he knew it was one of the Irish lads, but it was definitely
Gunnan.
Yeah.
Johnny Russell says that Gunnan would come after the game and say, I don't know why the fuck I'm playing with you boys, I'm the best defender in the SPL.
Yeah. But he was doing it in a funny way, like, I mean, like in a game, you'd be playing in a game and like something would happen and he'd say, how shit is that fella up there? I'm thinking, shut the fuck up. Like, I was a bit one of them that didn't want to talk to anyone. Like,
he just wanted to laugh.
But that, you know what, it's, like, for that 2 years, like, he played really well at Dundee United. He was a fucking decent player.
He just signed for Bali, I seen that.
Yeah, I know,
Were you in the game he picked the ball up?
No, I was at Aberdeen then. I was watching the game.
What, do you ever find out what that was about?
Because we were supposed to go out in Dundee afterwards, me, him, Dillo and the girls. And I said, we can't go out in Dundee after that. So we went to this hotel actually for some food. I said, we can't, you'll get killed. And
did he tell you why he done it?
He said because his knee was sore and he told Mixu to take him off. And Mixu, the game was going on and he said, you need to fucking take me off, my knee is sore. And then he just picked the ball up.
Oh, tremendous, I love it. Sean Dillon, club legend as well, huh? Played against him and he's throwing it, mate, in the lower leagues.
Yeah, I've heard that, yeah. He's in here, you know what he like, he loves himself, he's in that mirror doing 50 million sit-ups every day, isn't he, mate? Just tell him to wrap her up, mate, will you?
He needs to stop that, doesn't he? Right, what made you up to sign a pre-contract to Aberdeen 2013 rather than stay at Tannadice?
Basically, mate, I was having a good season at Dundee United and I never heard anything about my contract coming March, April, still not heard that. And come May, they offered me a contract and it was like a third of a wage cut after me getting player of the year and all. And
why is that?
I don't know, they said they were cutting back on money and stuff like that. And my initial reaction was, you know what, fuck you. And obviously, in the meantime, then I met Hibs. I didn't fancy Hibs. And then I met Pat Fenlon, and then I met Dell. So Dell came to my house. And within 2 minutes of meeting him, mate, I thought, he's fucking decent, man. I want to sign for him.
He's a top man, isn't he?
Yeah. He just made me want to play for him within 2 minutes of having a conversation with him. We get a manager that you meet him and you think, don't know about him.
What is it about him that made you feel like that? Is it his knowledge of football? Is it just he's just
the
a
way he spoke?
guy,
He just said, listen, Willo, I know what you are. You're a winner. You'll play in midfield for me. We've got, like Aberdeen, we've got a few decent players, but we need winners. We need people that have been around the game. You'll demand standards and stuff like that. And I want you to control the change room. Like, I mean, I don't want to be in controlling everything. Like, you know, he said, I want a close-knit group. Training will be good. We'll train Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. He said, I demand standards. And he said, I think we'll be decent. Speaking
to Adam Rooney, Golf Ball Cheeks and Matt Reynolds, they said that you did run the dressing room. Dale would let you do it.
Dale would just like...
Would he like you getting on, boys, or her?
Yeah. He would let me come in at half-time and say something, and then, like, sometimes he would pull me in on a Monday and say, listen, me, man, you can't fucking say that, like, I mean. But on a Saturday, he would let me go, and if I had to have a pop or something, he'd let me go and have a pop.
Did you love that he allowed you to do that, huh?
Just think as you get older, you feel like you've got a responsibility sometimes, don't you? If it's not good enough, and
because you see things on the pitch that obviously
that they don't see sometimes, And he would just let me go and have a little rant. And
what makes Dale so good? Why has he done so well at Aberdeen? Is it the players that he signs? Is he good tactically, man managing?
He's a great man manager. Like he has a close knit group. If anyone out with that change room starts acting the bollocks, they're out the door. Like, I mean, if you're a disruptant within that change room, you're gone. He demands everyone. Like, everyone is always on. Like, you train well, you eat well. Like, they have overnight stays at Aberdeen. They have massaging every day. Everything he does is for the players to do well. So they've no excuses. Tactically, he was good, but he wasn't like one of these managers that was on the training pitch. If he goes here, you go there. If he goes there, you go. It wasn't none of that.
He lets you work it for yourself.
Yeah, like he would do 11v11 on a Thursday. He would set us up how we're going to play against the opposition. He would do 1 or 2 different shapes how we'd play against them. Then on Friday, he would do a little bit more on the video, and then we were ready to go on the Saturday.
Right. How draining was the League Cup final 2014, 120 minutes against Inverness?
How bad was that game?
Oh my God.
In that way.
2 teams flinging shit at each other.
Do you know what?
Was there a lot of pressure on you to win it?
And we had that two, we 2 of our flair players, Pete Pollett and Johnny, comes off injured with the gammy elbow.
Yeah.
And they were massive losses for us. And I do think if we had a proper team, we would have won the game quite convincingly.
Where were you on the list of penalty takers?
Well, they see me miss a few for Dundee United, so I was 11th. I think Langfield was even before me.
How was it feeling when Adam Rooney sealed the winning penalty?
Great, mate. Like, see when people say, oh, medals, and see the medal, I don't even know where the medal is. See that bus journey from Celtic Park up to Aberdeen was the best bus journey I've ever been on.
What sort of stuff went on in that bus?
Mate, that was everything. I remember Johnny had a gammy elbow, so Johnny dislocated his shoulder, so he's like that, and Jamie Langfield was across. We were sitting on the table on the bus having a few beers, and I just started saying Langers, and Johnny's like that with gammy elbows like that. Just caning them, mate. And everyone was just singing, steaming. There wasn't one sober person on that bus. I didn't even think the bus driver was steaming.
Would Dale and that get involved?
Dale, yeah, everyone was singing. Like, Dale was up for singing. I think he sang The Killers, and then Tony Dock fucking killed it. He sang The Wanderer or something. Everyone's like, sit down, you clown. Yeah, so everyone was up singing, mate. The place was just bouncing.
Would that have been the best day of your career?
Yeah, by a mile. Do you know what? The club deserved it. Like, I didn't realise Aberdeen, how much of a big club it was until I was up there. And for me, in the next few years, I can see them winning a bit more.
Barry Robson told us he felt the club should have won the Cup double that year.
Yeah, we should have. So what happened was the first half against St Johnstone, we were much about that team. Adam should score, I think, to make it 2-0, and if we had went in at half time 2-0, I think we would have won the game convincingly. And to be fair, the second half they came out and they battered us a bit. Stephen McLean and Stevie May ran over the top of us probably.
Is that the lowest point in Aberdeen?
Yeah, that was tough one to take because we were going for second in the league, which we should have got, and we could have done the double. Because no other team, like we beat Celtic Park with Van Dijk in that team, and no, I don't think any other team in Scotland could have beat Celtic that year at Celtic Park other than us in that cup game.
How is it? See, is Dale after games? Is he one that could go mad? Yeah,
he would lose the plot. He always had a winning song. So anytime I think it was Scooter or something like that. So anytime we won a game, he'd say, right, music on, yeah, lads are bouncing about. But he would flip, but he'd only do it 2 or 3 times a year. He wouldn't, because I think if you do it all the time, lads are like, it does.
He said about the league as well, 2015, 2016, Aberdeen ran Celtic close. Was it Roderick's last minute winner against Kelly and you lost that day?
Yeah.
Was that the decisive day?
I think that was the day.
Did you think you could have won the league at you? Was there talk in the changing room, we can do this?
We thought we had a chance. Like, if Brendan Rodgers was in charge, I don't think, but I think with Ronnie in charge, and I don't think it was all, like, the vibes around Celtic Park wasn't great at the time, and I thought, you know what, if we could actually get ahead of them, we might have had a chance.
That Aberdeen team, why it's so successful? Was it the players that were in it? Ryan Jack, I heard you and him.
We had a fight.
Each other as well.
We had a fight, yeah. So what happened was I was in the game and Jacko should release the ball and I said, fucking pass it. And he came up and went head to head with me, like, I'm in the middle of a pitch. So I thought, fuck this. So then, like, so it was 5 minutes to half time or something. So walking in the tunnel and Tony Dock says, nice and calm now, wee man, nice and calm when you go in there. I said, yeah, no problem. As soon as I went in, mate, I just went for him.
Did you?
So then me and him were going at each other, and then Dale grabbed me and fucked me over at the side somewhere and just said, listen, you're fucking, look at you, your head's gone, you're all over the place. Are you sure you can play second half? I was like, yeah, I'll be fine.
This is me every week, course.
Yeah, but then I was a little bit frosty for a week or two and it was forgotten about me.
Barry Robson picked Ryan Jack as one of the best players at Aberdeen. Would you go along with that?
Yeah, like the most influential was Johnny at the time.
Johnny Hayes, playing against him at Dundee was brilliant, man, at Aberdeen, wasn't he?
Yeah, like Johnny used to make us tick. Niall was a good player for us. When Adam got service, he scored. Jacko was a decent. Jacko never really, for me, never got really appreciated by the Aberdeen fans. It's only now that he's gone that they probably think, you know what, he was a decent player. Kenny McLean for me was a
good player.
Yeah, Kenny could run all day. Like, people don't realise Kenny was a proper athlete. Like, I mean, top footballer but an athlete.
Were all they guys winners as well?
Yeah.
Training.
Kenny was a good lad. Kenny had a lot of time for him because he struggled when he first came in.
Yeah.
First 6 months he didn't really get going and stuff. And I always remember we were walking off the training pitch, me and him one day, and he says, "Oh, Dale just pulled me there." And I said, "What did he say?" He just says to me, "When the fuck am I going to show up?"
Did he?
Yeah. So he says...
and was it for that point he kind of kicked on?
Yeah. And then you could see he was a player, but it wasn't happening for him on the Saturday. And he came into a good team and a good change room, and it was quite a loud change room, I'd say, you know what I mean? And then once Kenny was in 6 months, he took over the change room himself.
Did he? Yeah. Barry Robson, obviously, as you said, you and him get really pally when at Aberdeen.
Yeah. Robbo's one of them. He's, you know what, he's a winner and he's a good lad. And like, he used to hit people elbows and say he never hit them. So I remember I came off with me hammy against Hearts or something like that, and I was in the change room, and he comes on for me 5 minutes before half time. He got booked straight away. So half time he's walking out, and Dale says, "Fucking you, be careful now. Don't be getting sent off." He's like, yeah, I won't. So I go in, get my shower, pull me hammy, come back out. Who walks in? There's Robbo. Like, you stupid. I said, what are you doing? He goes, I smashed someone. I said, he said here. He goes, I know. Then the two of us are chatting. He goes, you know what? I've done that walk a few times. So then the two of us just burst out laughing.
But he was brilliant for Aberdeen too, wasn't he?
Yeah, good player, mate. He's a winner. And people don't realise, like, he was so strong. No pace, but whip a ball in.
Left foot.
Wanted to take goal kicks, free kicks, corners, throw-ins. My ball he was. Wanted everything.
Again, best memories, goals, games for Aberdeen. Obviously the final, but...
Yeah, the goal was probably... The goal against Hibs that I scored was a decent goal. Favourite game for Aberdeen. Do you know what? When we beat St Johnstone at Tynecastle was a decent game, because I think that, you know what, this Derek McInnes Aberdeen team is actually not bad. They've actually got a chance. Yeah, that was probably a decent game for me. Going back to Tannadice was a decent game. It was a tough game to come back to, but I enjoyed it. I probably should have been sent off in the game, but we came back and we won. Or we got dogs abuse. And you know what, I actually enjoyed that part of it.
Did you?
Yeah.
Strange, man. Love your time at Aberdeen too, huh?
Yeah, loved it, mate. Loved it. Do you know what? Massive club, good staff, good people. Do anything for the players. Like, Dale made sure that anything the players need, they got. Brilliant. I just had a lot of respect for him, and I still speak to him now.
Excellent. Final spell at Dundee United, a difficult experience. The state the club were in, was it tough playing for them in the Championship? Yeah,
it was tough, mate. It was. Do you know what? We weren't good enough. It was our own fault. The club deserved better, and we just never produced. And I do think that if we had got a bit more backing, we might have been. If the new chairman was in now and we had a bit of money behind us, I think we would have done okay. Like, we were top of the league in January with a decent Hibs team who had Fivey, John McGinn, Dylan McGee. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cummins. Decent players, and we were actually top of the league. And that January we lost Cammy Smith and Topi Obadei and brought in Alex Nichols and Thomas Mickelson, I think it was.
Never heard of them.
Made us weaker, like, I mean. So I do think if Ray had got a bit more backing and a bit of help, then, because by the time the playoffs came, lads were on that. Like, I was playing with, I done me hammy and I was still playing.
How hard was it for you, though? Because obviously your other spells at United were so successful, and then
it was tough for me
to play in a team that wasn't doing well.
Anything I associated with Dundee United was challenging cups in the top six, always get beaten Old Firm a few times a year, big games, and like, it was tough, because I know it was tough for me playing, and I can imagine what it was like for the fans, because they were used to seeing the European Cups in the 80s. Our Dundee United team was decent, we were always challenging. Then they won the Scottish Cup, and then to watch that shite you were watching,
Great way to put it. Red card deal, Livingston pushing into the TV camera, head gone at her.
Head had gone, mate. Do you know what? My head had gone 4 months up to it because I didn't enjoy. Shabbos training was draining me. Like we'd go in at 9:30. I wouldn't touch a football till 11:30. We'd have meetings every day. It was draining the life out of me. And he brought on, like we were crying out for pace, and he brought on the boy Emil Ling, who wasn't good enough. And like we were winning the game 2-1, we battered them, and then we ended up losing the game 3-2.
Is it people have came on about Laszlo have always got like a funny story about getting somebody's name wrong or not knowing who somebody is, anything like that now?
Like he just like he was like he had some ideas that I thought, yeah, that's not bad, and then some of the stuff he used to do was mental. Like he'd come to one of the young lads like Paul McMullen and Matty Smith. He used to torture them too. So before the game, he'd say, Matty, you lose the ball today, I'll kill you. I'm thinking, you're just killing that lad there. I'm going out to play with him now in 10 minutes time, right?
Nervous, right?
And I'm going to try give him a G up in the warm-up. And he was just making him nervous, like, come in. And then I just felt as if he should have been harder on someone like me or Scotty Mack rather than a younger kid, like.
Right, bit of a mad time, the transfer recently in Dunfermline, Bali. Oh, what the fuck happened, man?
Right. So basically, I was going to Florida. I spoke to Alan Johnson. He said, listen, Willo, do you fancy coming? I said, yeah, because I was still coaching. I was coaching the kids at Dundee United. I said, right, I'll play at the firm and still coach at Dundee United. So then I was there about 7 days. Training was, to be fair, what I was used to training at Dundee United and going to him, I thought it was fucking good training. Like, he actually enjoyed it for the seven days or whatever it was. And then a Dutch lad that I played with, Nick van der Velde, rang me and says, Willo, Bali, I need a midfielder, do you fancy it? I was like, yeah. But I said, I don't know if I can get around my contract. Like, I'm sure I can. But I said, I'm not going to the manager until I get an offer. So then 2 days later, they sent me over the offer, and I thought, it was like decent money, apartment with a pool. You know what I mean? I thought, Bali, someplace. I thought, fuck, why not? So then I had to go into the manager and say, listen, Gaffer, like, I've had an unbelievable offer from Bali, like, at my age, like, I can't really turn that down. And he goes, what? I goes, yeah. I said, it's like decent money. I said, I can't turn it down. He goes, listen, let me think about it, Willo. So then I spoke to him the next day, and I just said, listen, I said, I want to go, like, you know what I mean? I said, I want to go and try experience something different. Let me have a go and see if I like it or not. So then he goes, let me speak to the chairman. To be fair, I see the chairman, Ross McCarther, Alan Johnson, they were brilliant. They could have easily said to me, listen, but their thing was, Willo, I don't want you to stay here and you're not even wanting to be here.
Your heart's not in it.
Yeah. So then I left then. So then I went over first class over to Bali, like they paid for everything first class, and then first day I was there, Nick van der Velde comes up to me and goes, come on, we go out on the scooter, we'll go into the town. Semiac, I think it was called. He goes, there's a scooter down there. I was like, I've never drove one of them, Nick. He goes, no, you'll be fine. So I'm like, I'm driving it, right? Underground car park, went out, turned the corner, straight into a wall. Nearly killed myself. So Nick's like, you'll be all right. So then I drive around the corner, bang, straight into a parked car, mate. The moped was underneath the thing. I crashed right off the thing. I had a big scar down my leg. I nearly killed myself, only being in Bali for about an hour.
So wait, why did it go wrong in Bali?
So basically, I went wrong because the agent that brought me over there and the club didn't know that you had to come from the Scottish Premiership, not the Scottish Championship. So then they said to me, why don't you ring like Aberdeen, because you've got a good relationship, and sign with them for a day and then come to Bali. I was like, nah, you can't do that. Like, it's not, wouldn't be right. Like, I mean, it look amateur. Like, I mean, you know what they like over in these countries, they're just different breed. But do you know one thing I would do? I would tell Scottish lads to go when they're younger, because go and experience it. Like, I mean, there's good money abroad. The money in the Scottish game is, unless you're at the top 4, top 5, is not there anymore.
No. So why did you decide to retire?
When I came back, mate, I just thought, you know what, you've got another half of your life to live. You might as well go and think long term. And I was hemming and hawing on whether to stay in the coaching game. And you know what, Dundee United, they wanted me to do coaching, but it wasn't a full-time job. And I just thought, you know what, go into the agency game and try give some young lads a bit of advice and try help them, because I'm sick of solicitors and lads in 3-piece suits looking after young lads who haven't got a clue about football, and they're bringing their parents out for food. But I'm thinking, you actually don't know what that boy is going through, like when he's struggling through a hard time, because we've been there. We know it, yeah. So that's why I want to try go do something different, mate.
Anyone watching, get on at Willo Flood for an agent. Been a pleasure, mate.
Cheers,
Thanks
mate.
very much.
Thank you. Cheers, mate.